Willkommen at 3D Print Passion. Today I will show you how to start with 3D printing. You are an absolute newbie in the field of 3D printing and do not know even how to start, how you can get started and what you are needing? Then you are exactly right here in this video today. Maybe you are thinking about to buy a 3D printer. Maybe you already have ordered one. The anticipation and expectation that you have, I can understand it very well. It's certainly huge, and now the first questions arise. How do I even start? You may ask yourself, what else is needed? How can you manage that the first part can be printed? I would like to discuss these questions with you today, and I promise you, I will not go too deep. This is absolutely a video for newbies. We will stay a little on the surface. I'll give you a look at the whole subject and I'll try not to overload you with too many informations and do not go into the deep details. I will show you how to start and create a little mini-series for beginners. Let's start with the first questions. What do you need else? You need a small plier, a tweezer and a spatula. I ideally hope you can see that a little bit here on the video. One spatula that is slightly sharpened at the front so that you can easily take prints from the print bed. Most parts, or many of these parts, are often already included in the delivery of a new printer, but not all the parts and not with every printer. If something is missing, you should order them. You will need them anyway. A caliper is a plus, but not compelling. What you also need is filament. There are filaments in a wide variety of plastic types. I advise you to start with PLA. It is super easy to print. There is no easier filament to start with. I give you also a tip depending to the color. White and black are actually the most popular filament colors and have a small advantage. They make the print a little nicer than they might actually be. If you like to calibrate, put a gray filament in the shopping cart, because due to the incidence of light and reflection, you can see very well where your printer and the configuration of it is still weak. Therefore, I recommend you to throw a gray color or a light gray color into the shopping cart. Before you buy filament, check that the diameter matches of your printer. Most printers work with a diameter of 1.75 millimeters. Another little tip, as darker the filament is, as more color pigments are included, and depending on the manufacturer, it may be that you notice when printing that a dark filament is a bit more difficult to print as a brighter one. Advanced people, of course, may do not notice anymore, but especially beginners, if the printer is not yet super calibrated, this can give you some issues to solve in the beginning. But don't worry, I'm sure you will definitely manage it. Do not buy a cheap filament under any circumstances to start. You will only get annoyed, and under certain circumstances it will take away your desire for 3D printing. Buy decent branded filament. At the beginning, definitively use standard filament. Means don't use filaments like fluorescent filaments, glow in the dark, wood filaments, filaments with stone, and so on. For these filaments, you need sometimes special equipments like hardened nozzles. As beautiful as these filaments are, as long you don't feel confidential in the area of 3D printing, you just add another component and you just don't know where to look anymore. Let's have a look to the software. In order to get a 3D model on the printer, it has to be converted with the help of a slicer. There are a lot of slicers on the market. I tell you the 3 most famous ones. This is Simplify 3D, the Prusa slicer and Cura. Personally, I use Cura because of many printers our standard profiles are already included in Cura, and that makes getting started a little easier for you. The profiles are quite nice for the first printout, but it is not exactly calibrated for your printer. And every printer, even if it's the same brand and the same device, always behaves a little different. The slicer converts your CAD model, your STL model, into a machine language that tells the printer exactly how to move in X, Y and Z axis, specifies the speed and also specifies the quantity of filament to be extruded into the nozzle. If you would like to create your own CAD drawings, I recommend a very beginner-friendly version that is also free of charge, called Thingiverse. And from the same manufacturer, the more professional version, Fusion 360, for those who want to get really deep into the subject for non-commercial use. Fusion 360 I highly recommend if you want to design complex drawings. By the way, I put all links below this video that you can check them later. And now I will show you how to create a printer in a slicer. In my case, it will be Cura. After the first start of Cura, you will be directly in this printer menu. It will probably open directly when you start the software the first time. If not, you can find it under Settings, Printer, Add Printer, and here under the Network Printer, the selection of all printers that are already stored has a standard profile. I would like to show you everything using at the example of an Atelier Genius, which we select here, press Add, check the standard parameters that Cura has stored and make sure X, Y and Z fits to your printer. If not, adapt it. Let's switch over to the extruder. The extruder is on 1.75 millimeter diameter, so that fits. And that's it. Now we have already created the printer in Cura, and you can see in this case you even have a nice printer design here. Let's talk about the next important points. Where can you get 3D print models from? The most popular website is Thingiverse. I don't know how many models there are, probably more than 1 million. Let's have a deeper look on Thingiverse, because here I would like to advise you not to start with high complex prints, because I guarantee you the disappointment is definitively there. Your printer can do that, but maybe you cannot operate the printer in such a way that it will print out such a model successfully. Start slowly and have fun with printing. At the beginning, print a calibration cube, for example, and these are always good to see how good your bed is leveled. You can also measure this calibration cube. For example, this should be 20 by 20 by 20 millimeters. If the deviation is greater, such as 0.1 or 0.2, I would be advised to calibrate your printer a little. Also a nice print is a Banshee. It has practically a cult factor in the 3D printer scene, and there is probably no one who has not already printed these two parts several times. The Banshee is more challenging your printer. It shows of all the cycles around, if overhangs are clean or need more cooling. It shows you the stringing behavior and the layer accuracy. These little printouts are small, fast to print, and you can learn a lot by trying to get better results without wasting too big amount of plastic. I will download now this file and open it in Cura. And I would like to give you another tip. You can see that the alignment of this little ship is from left to the right. Look at the orientation of your fan. With my Atelier Genius, it blows from front to back. This is the cooling direction. So we will change orientation for the ship, that the overhang will be as best as possible be cooled. This small area at the vessel need to be as quickly as possible cooled before the next layer will be printed. Otherwise it will be very messy. And then we come to the next point, quality. I like to propose to use in the beginning standard quality with a 0.2 layer height. It doesn't take too much time and it's easy to print. The next interesting value is wall line count. These walls create the outer shell. As more lines you choose here, as more robust your print will be, but also it will take more time and more filament to print. Infill is also a necessary to know function in the beginning. Somewhere between 15 and 20% should be enough. If you need a much stronger print, increase this value. If the print don't need to be very robust, you can decrease it. Next point, temperature. PLA is mostly printed between 200 and 210 degrees Celsius. For the first layer, you can increase this by around 10 degrees for a better bed adhesion. The bed temperature for PLA should be okay somewhere between 55 and 60 degrees. First layer could be also printed with 65 degrees. Let's see together traveling and cooling. First of all, if you like to have nice prints, print slow. 40 till 50 millimeters per second should be fine. All other values will be adapted automatically. Cooling. PLA needs cooling, but don't start with it at layer 1, because this can cause problems with bed adhesion. Start cooling, for example, at layer 4 or 5. A good cooling is necessary for overhangs, else they will look a little bit messy. The build blade adhesion could be also very interesting. You have to choose between skirt, prim and raft. A skirt is printed around the object and perfectly clean the nozzle before the real print is starting. A prim is increasing the bed adhesion by printing lines around the object and increase by that way the surface. This also reduces the warping effect, where the object is banding up by cooling down. Much more than that is roughed. This prints a little platform with a big surface where the real print will be placed on. If we have sliced our object, we will save it to the SD card, put it inside the printer's SD card slot and start the print. Well done! You will have your first print object. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, thanks for thumbs up. If you like to see more videos from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell to get a notification if my next video will be uploaded. See you next time. Happy printing. Bye.